do less than seven figures, looking to scale up to the 2 to 3, 4, 5 million mark with their first foundational commission-based sales team. So if you have, two or less salespeople, or no existing successful commission-based salespeople, if you're less than seven figures, looking to scale up to that 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5 million market revenue, this call is designed for you. Now, the reason that we do this call in a group environment is because the challenges around building a commission-based sales team need to be super clear to the type of client that we're going to serve. And so you guys are here to learn about what it looks like to participate in our recruiting service, and we're going to talk about that and a couple other things as well. By the end of the call, in about 20 minutes or so, you'll have a good understanding if it's a fit. And if it is, we can finish up with some Q&A, and I'll drop a link to schedule a one-on-one call as well, but really excited to be here with you guys. So recap on some important stuff for you guys to understand. And also too, when I talk about building a commission, or when I talk about Sales Recruiting University, our company that recruits over 1,000 commission-based sales reps, we have a service that I'm not going to go through today, but that service is $15,000, $24,000, or $36,000 for a 3-month, 6-month, and a 12-month agreement. That's typically for the company that has full-time leadership. They already have successful sales reps. They have onboarding processes, sales processes. Their compensation plan is fleshed out, and they're looking to typically recruit higher volumes of people than maybe just their first 2 to 5 reps. If you have foundational things in place like sales leadership, onboarding, and those kind of things, and you're looking to really step up the recruiting side, and that budget of 15 to 24, 36K aligns with your current budget, you want to talk about our done for you recruiting services, we can do that. But today we're going to focus on a different strategy that, again, is designed for the smaller business doing less than 7 figures, looking to scale up their first foundational sales team of 2 to 5 commission-based sales reps. Regardless if you're doing more than 7 figures or less, this will be a good educational presentation for you, and it'll give you a good understanding if it makes sense to continue speaking with us in the next couple of days around our services. So hopefully that makes sense. The first thing I want to know is when an organization is, looking to scale up their first 2 to 5 commission-based sales reps, in a lot of cases, because again, think about it, right? If a company's doing less than, maybe 7 figures, most likely it's the owner and maybe one other sales rep primarily doing all the sales. Okay. Now, when that's the case and a company goes towards the process of scaling up a commission-based sales team, there's typically things that need to be put in place that they're not thinking of. We need to have 100% clear strategy on the sales model. We need to have the sales process fully created. That's the setter scripts, the closer scripts. The compensation needs to be developed. There needs to be training around the company, the position, the sales process, the products and services, the customer profiles, the top FAQs, the top objections. Like all of those things need to be processes inside of the business before we can actually have recruiting success. Okay. And so in most cases, when companies come towards us, and they're looking for those first 2 to 5 commission-based sales reps, what we actually need to do first is kind of take their current vehicle, which may not be the most attractive vehicle today, with maybe not the most defined sales process, most solid commission-based compensation plan, the best training, the best leadership experience. We need to take those things that maybe be like, maybe can be viewed as like a broken vehicle, and kind of amazing vehicle, a supercar that actually can attract and retain the right commission-based salespeople. Okay, because we can build out processes and put you in a place to be able to recruit commission-based reps really easily. But if they come in and see that your vehicle, your sales department is completely broken and it's a mess, then they're immediately going to be dropping off and looking for another opportunity. And so it's really important that the foundational things are put in place, that we build an amazing vehicle to not only attract people, but to retain the right people, resulting in the sales production. So in most cases, when we're looking for those first 2 to 5 reps, it's a little bit of a different strategy versus getting crazy from a recruiting perspective right away. The first thing that we need to think about, I've talked about it a little bit already, is the onboarding process. Again, that's the sales process that needs to be defined. The sales model needs to be defined. The compensation plan needs to be totally fleshed out with payroll set up. There needs to be training around the company, the position, setting appointments, closing tech, your products and services, your offers, the customer profiles, top FAQs, top objections. All of those materials actually need to be inside of a new hire training process, so that when you recruit me, I can come on board and actually learn the things that I need to learn to ramp up into success within your business. Even if I'm a top candidate and you're assuming that, hey, this is a top candidate, and therefore, because he's a top candidate, he can just plug into our organization and see success regardless of how much our process is set. The reality is if you recruit me, I'm going to come into your business. If your processes are not dialed, and I'm going to be judging those processes and saying, hey, I can do better or I can find better, and I'll be looking for something new. So that's what the top candidates will do when they come inside of your sales department if you don't have your systems fleshed out. The average candidates, like the average Joe producing, quota producing reps, they'll actually come in, and if there isn't the solid processes necessary for success, they actually won't stick money and they'll fall off. And so the conclusion there, if it's not clear, is for the top candidates and for that middle group of candidates that are more quota producing reps, there absolutely needs to be a good system to onboard and give them the materials that they need to ramp up into financial success. Okay. Now, what we do with organizations is in this phase, when they're looking to scale up their first 2 to 5 commission-based reps, we first start with helping them build out and automate their entire new hire training process. For small business owners and even for sales leadership, there usually isn't the time necessary to invest into live onboarding training in the way that it needs to happen. If you guys are not familiar with the numbers, it's typically 20, 40, and up to 60 hours of training needs to happen in the first 30 days with a new rep, assuming you want to maximize your retention rates and maximize production, which obviously is what we want to do. Okay. When we invest our time and resources into recruiting, we obviously want the highest return on that investment as possible. Okay. And that comes with good processes and then investing into the people to ensure that we maximize that recruiting ROI. Okay. Now, what we do, because for most sales leaders and primarily the small business owner who's looking for their first 2 to 5 reps, because they do not have the time to actually invest 20, 40, 60 hours a month to onboard reps consistently, what we do is we help clients build out and automate their entire onboarding process. So if you can imagine having your own custom university, let's say that your company's ABC University, we help you build out ABC, University. And then inside of that training, there's 5 modules, Monday through Friday, 2 to 3 hours of training every single day with videos, documents, quizzes, teaching A to Z everything that a rep needs to learn about your opportunity, automating everything informationally around your onboarding process, putting in a place to not only have the material onboarding process ready to rock and roll to train reps, but also having it fully automated so you can ensure that the time investment and the material gets delivered to the reps consistently every single time. So at a high level, what we do at the beginning phases of helping a client build up a commission-based sales team is we help flesh out their sales model, sales process, compensation plan. We help them build out their training around their company, their mission, vision, values, their sales process, setting appointments, closing appointments, their sales tech, their customer profiles, products and services, their offers, top FAQs, top objections, all of those things that reps need to learn. We actually help them build out that entire A to Z process and transition all of that content again into your own form of your automated university. Very, very important. Lastly, just a note, there's a bunch of benefits to this obviously, but what we implement for clients is we have their onboarding process. We have it as a requirement for reps to go through it go through the university 2 to 3 first 30 days, meaning this rep is going through 15 hours of training or whatever the time investment is over and over and over again in the first month, ensuring that they actually retain the information. Okay. An example client of this is TAP Innovations. We've helped over 1,600 businesses. So this is just one example. But TAP Innovations, they're a B2B company. They sell high ticket technology, solutions, developing tech for medium to large size businesses all over the United States. And they sell packages from like $10,000 to $50,000. It's a B2B remote commission-based sales opportunity. Reps are working again from remote from home. Reps are responsible for self-generating and closing their own deals by doing outbound calls, outbound LinkedIn messages, text, emails. They need to set their own appointments, close their own deals. And it's a very challenging, long 90-day sales cycle. Now, the only reason I use this example at the beginning is because it's one of the most challenging type of opportunities to ramp up into a sales rep. And I like to use this example because it's the hardest model to build a sales team. And so this is a long, high-ticket B2B sales opportunity with the high-level decision makers where reps have to self-generate and close their own deals. This company, Tap Innovations, was working for 2 years, hundreds of hours wasted on recruiting and onboarding to literally get zero success. The only people that could produce were the owners. And they have a good little business, but they came to us. We helped them build out and automate their new hire training and implement the couple other phases that we'll talk about for the rest of the presentation. And then within a couple weeks after implementing this onboarding training and launching recruiting, within a couple weeks, they recruited 8 reps. They retained 6 of those reps. Only 25% of them fell off. And all 6 of those reps retained and produced, which was, in 2 weeks, they pretty much did 600% better than they did in the 2 years leading up to this. And they saved roughly 30 to 40 hours per compared to what they were doing before. And a big piece of that was not only the recruiting stuff we'll talk about later, but a big piece of that was this. They had a long technical B2B sales opportunity. So it was a long, in-depth training process that got fully automated off the owner's plate. So that means that they're not spending 20 hours a week repeating the same information over and over and over and over again when they onboard reps. So to recap, if you joined late, we're talking about what does it look like for the company that's less than 7 figures. Look at a scale of their first 2 to 5 commission-based reps, and look at a scale up to that maybe $1 to $5 million in revenue mark. Okay, it's different than just recruiting bodies into your organization. Now we have to build the foundation necessary for retention success and predictable revenue. Step 1 is building out the onboarding process and automating that. Step 2 is having a strategy around recruiting and developing sales leadership. Even if you want 2-3 reps, as a small business owner, you're going to want to be in a place where you delegate the sales management responsibilities to somebody else. You can get by with, a minimal time into the sales management function as an owner, but long term, you want sales leadership to be a full-time thing within your business. There's a lot of skill sets and time that goes into sales leadership. There's sales team meetings, there's one-on-one meetings and accountability, there's sales reporting, there is sales coaching, there's sales team support, there's recruiting, there's the management of the onboarding process, and more. And all of that ends up being a full-time job, especially when your team gets to 4, 5, 6 plus people. And so we like to help clients build a strategy where they can recruit and develop their next leader. Now, there's a specific process for doing this. I'll give you a quick highlight of that process. Really, it's advertising and recruiting a future sales manager in training that needs to come in and prove themselves for the first 90 days before they qualify to transition into leadership. And what we do is we set up and install that leadership recruiting process inside of your business. You pump a handful of candidates into the commission-based sales role, with all of them competing to earn the sales leadership position. And once the first guy or gal earns the leadership position, we work with you and help develop that person into handling all of those responsibilities around recruiting, onboarding, sales team meetings, one-on-one meetings, and so much more. Now, the reason that this is a good strategy is not only because you want to delegate sales leadership responsibilities to somebody else as a business owner, but also when you're getting your foundational team off the ground, you want to have something exciting to increase the quality of candidates interested in your opportunity. So as an example, if I'm a small business owner and I'm producing, whatever, 800K in revenue per year, and I'm looking to scale up a sales team and it's just me, and I'm trying sales reps, well, decent candidates are going to come in and say, well, it's just the owner. Nobody's proven in the commission-based sales role. That probably means they don't have any processes in place, and it's not interesting enough to me. And therefore, you're never going to get decent enough people to actually produce and stick with you long term. But when the small business owner has a better foundation in place, like step 1 we talked about, and when they have a different strategy for actually recruiting a higher quality person, which from our perspective, that's recruiting people into a future sales leadership position where they get an objective path to advancing into that role, they actually, because of that future opportunity, get a higher quality candidate and therefore can get some better foundational commission-based sales people off the ground for those first 2 to 3 reps, if that makes sense, while at the same time letting somebody transition into leadership, putting them in a place to delegate those responsibilities later. So if it's not clear, phase one or steps all about building out and automating your training. And that means for you that onboarding and training, which is absolutely required for success, is not only there as a process within your business, but it's now automated. Step two is having a strategy to recruit a higher quality person while at the same time building your commission-based sales team and getting a leader in place that can be developed to manage the sales management responsibilities later. That puts you in a place to have higher quality people at the beginning of building your team, but also puts you in a place to be able to step back as the business owner once that person's handling the sales leadership role. To give you an example of this one too, we got a company, Spartan Energy. Spartan Energy, they're a company, they're a commercial B2B, like deregulated energy outside commission-based sales opportunity. And they're in Texas. And when they came to us, the business owner was kind of acting as the sales leader. He was looking to scale up 2 separate outside sales markets in Texas. And we started out with, phase one, which was building out and automating it. And then we launched the sales leadership recruiting and development process. Within 90 days of him doing that, he built up a few commission-based reps within both of those markets. There was a leader that arose that met the qualifications that we set up within their business. And he was able to advance 2 people in those 2 different markets into leadership and delegate more to them, and allowed them to increase the volume of recruits they were bringing on board after that, because the owner was able to step away and let the sales leaders invest full time in those specific markets and scaling up the commission-based sales team. Within 6 months of working with us, they were the fastest growing B2B energy company in the state of Texas, which is a pretty big deal. And it's because of the systems that they had in place to scale up their commission-based sales team. Now that process for recruiting specifically commission-based reps that earn the leadership role, and having the owner delegate responsibilities to that person, that's a common thing that happens for our clients every single day. And so that's kind of phase two. It sets you up for phase three, and this is where you're able to scale the heck out of your sales team. And this is where we got the onboarding and training automated. We have the sales leader who's managing those responsibilities, right? We probably have 1 to 2 other reps that started with them at the beginning as well that were looking to earn in the leadership role later, but they didn't. But now, since we have that leader and we have the onboarding and training systems in place, now we can dramatically increase the volume of recruits that we're bringing on board, and grow as fast as we want to. Now, for some of you, you just want to scale up a team of 4 to 5 reps. For some of you, if you built up your first team of 2, 3, 4, 5 reps, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I can do this. Let's scale this thing to freaking 20 or 50, right? So once you have the leadership and the processes in place, you can actually execute on whatever it is that you want to execute on. And the reason is because you've turned your vehicle being broken today and turned it into a vehicle that you can actually drive incredibly fast. Foundational systems were there. You're in a place in step 3 to really recruit and step on the gas. Hopefully that makes sense. An example for a client that went through this entire process, Manchac Roofing. Manchac Roofing, direct-to-consumer, door-to-door, commission-based roofing opportunity. And they built out and automated their new hire training. They fired up the sales leadership recruiting and development process. There was a person that earned that leadership role within Manchac Roofing. And then as soon as that person was the full-time sales manager, the owner said, okay, let's blow up the sales team. And that sales manager that went through our entire process, that sales manager recruited 16 reps with our recruiting model in the first 30 days as a full-time sales manager. They pumped those 16 reps through their automated training program, retained 8 commission-based reps, and in the first 30 days, those 8 reps produced over half sales, which put them on track to add over $5 million in revenue that year, and that's just from 1 month of recruiting. Now that's fairly simple to do in a high-ticket, short sales cycle, direct-to-consumer model, so that's not uncommon, but that's an example of a client coming on board, an owner building out and automating their new hire training, launching the recruiting and onboarding strategy, and then having the foundational systems in place to step on recruiting in a massive way. And then you can grow to the moon from there. That's kind of the idea. Now, I went through 3 examples with you. That's 3 examples of roughly 300 client testimonials and case studies that we have. So that's just 1%, right? And the reason I talk about that is because it's important for you to know that we've done this for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of businesses. We recruit over 1,000 commission-based sales reps every single month. We recruit more volume than literally us out there that does anything comparable to what we do. And this is all I've been working on for 11 years, is helping small business owners build commission-based sales teams. So if you're serious, we're in a position to be able to help you. Now, the 3 phases that we went through, building out and automating your onboarding process, recruiting and developing leaders, and then recruiting sales reps, that's in most cases the exact steps that need to happen. But everybody is in a different situation, and we need to figure out exactly what this is going to look like for your specific business. And so we can't do this in a group environment on this call, but in the next one-on-one call, if there's alignment with the program I'm going to recap on and the investment I'll recap on here in a second, what we will do on that next call is we'll develop your own custom growth plan and figure out where your revenue is, where you want to go, your rep quota, how many reps we're going to need, figure out your retention rates. Based on your retention rates, figure out how many reps that we're going to need. So you're going to be able to onboard when you have these onboarding systems in place, help you understand from a monthly perspective based on the team that you want to grow, how long it's going to take for you to go from here to here from a revenue perspective by building your team, and let you know exactly what the time investment is going to be to get there based on the processes that we implement inside of businesses. And so that'll be super cool for you. And you'll walk away from that call with an amazing plan. And at a bare minimum, understand the time investment, the process, and the volume of recruiting and onboarding that's going to be required for you to build the team that you desire. Okay. So today we talked about 3 general steps that are incredibly important for the company that is less than 7 figures, looking to scale up to 1 to 2, 5 million with their first couple, 2, 3, 4, 5 commission-based sales reps. Okay. At the beginning of the call, I talked about a separate service. It's our Done For You recruiting program. We do a lot of similar things, but a little bit of extra work in the recruiting process side, which you can learn about later. But those programs are 15, 24K, and 36K for a 3, 6, and 12-month agreement. And in most cases, if a company's less than 7 figures and they're just looking for their first 2 to 5 commission-based reps, then they're better suited from a need standpoint for our Done With You recruiting program. Okay, so what that includes is we help you build out and automate your new hire training. We help you install our sales leadership recruiting process so you can easily recruit that future sales manager in training. We help install the processes that they need to do to prove themselves into that leadership role and help develop those people into leaders within your business. And then the third thing that we do is we help, we actually install our sales recruiting process for recruiting high volumes of commission-based reps, which at a high level is really efficient. It's based on volume and it eliminates phone interviews and also in the traditional recruiting process and pretty much cuts out 75 to 80% of the time to recruit commission-based reps. And so all 3 of those things are packaged in because all 3 of those things are required for the small business owner to scale up those first 2 to 5 commission-based reps. Now that's a 5 to 6K investment, depending on what payment option you use. And what's really cool too is there's a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you're protected financially. We just try to make it easy for you if it's in the budget. And pretty much if you follow the process, do the few things that we expect for you to do as a client, which you can learn about later, and you're not happy after 60 days of signing up, you can get 100% of your money back. Okay? One of the things that we're doing really cool right now too is in our Done For You programs that are 15K, 24K, and 36K, what comes with that investment is we invest every single year for our clients to get access to unlimited DISC assessments. And for the last 11 years, between multiple companies that I've grown, Sales Recruiting University, this is actually my 4th recruiting company. We've been around for 6 years and we have over 50 plus people and recruit over 1,000 commission-based sales reps a month. Well, over my career, I've actually been involved in in recruiting over 80,000 commission-based sales reps across over 1,600 companies. Okay, and what comes along with that is obviously experience and all the processes that we're talking about today. But what's really cool is we have an understanding of what kind of DISC personality behavioral styles are best suited for your opportunities, your sales roles, whether they're going to be sales management candidates or sales rep candidates. And this alone is worth the investment because when you can identify in the recruiting process, on top of building out the training, on top of recruiting and developing the leader, on top of having an efficient model to recruit reps, when on top of that, you can either be best for your opportunity and protect your time in the onboarding process, that's huge. And so our DFY recruiting clients that pay $15K, $24K, and $36K, they get unlimited access to DISC assessments, okay? And so what we're doing right now with our Done With You recruiting program, which is just pretty much taking all our same systems in-house after we build them out for you. Right now, for up to a year, we're giving access to the same DISC system, and you'll be able to use that as many times as you want to over the next 12 months, which is huge. And so that's cool. That's something we're doing right now because there is availability. And so next steps, if you feel like there's alignment around the investment, around what we do from a service perspective, whether you want to talk about our Done With You recruiting program or our Done For You recruiting program, next steps would be scheduling a call. I'm going to drop a link in the Zoom chat box, and that'll connect you with Scott, and you guys can figure out the growth plan and get a good understanding of what this is going to look specifically like for your company, because that's typically the question. It's like, okay, well, I'm in this industry. This is my sales model. This is my current setup. What does it look like for me? So we're going to answer that question as well as build out your growth plan and figure out if this is the perfect opportunity for you to scale up. So I'll wait for 30 to 60 seconds. Look at the chat. Go ahead and schedule that call. If you don't see it, go ahead and speak up. And then we will open it up for some Q&A here in just 30 to 60 seconds. All right. So again, if you're looking to connect, grab that link, schedule a call, and we'll talk about what it looks like for you to build out your new hire training, recruit and develop your next leader, recruit commission-based sales reps. We'll talk about that access to the DISC assessment. That's huge. And we'll be really looking forward to that call. Okay, let's open it up for some questions. Do you guys have any questions about what we do? Any clarity that you need?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yeah, go for it.
So you mentioned a lot about startups and all that. So a startup has a product for small businesses and all that, and they are looking for a sales team which can bring clients to them. They already spent 2-3 years for product development, all that. How can you take that as a challenge for your team, and what is the cost, or is there a minimum cost involved with the training program?
Yeah, so were you here for the whole call, Naeem?
Yes.
Yeah. And so startup, you guys have invested a couple 2 to 3 years into the development of your product, and you're like, hey, if we're going to build a sales team, what does it look like for us? Right?
That is correct.
Yeah. So what we went through today, that's our Done With You recruiting program. That includes building out and helping you automate your new hire training. And that's the system to onboard and train reps and protect your time as a leader doing that. The next system that we install inside of your business is the sales management and training, recruiting, and development process, so that you can recruit your next leader and delegate to that person later and step on the gas in terms of building your sales team. And then we lastly install our high volume sales recruiting model that's designed around high volume commission-based sales recruiting. It's an efficient model for recruiting commission-based reps. To answer your question, we have clients that want to recruit a couple reps every quarter, and they have really minimal needs a year, and we have clients that recruit 100 reps a month. And so we have clients kind of in every need. So it's totally accomplish whatever it is that you need to accomplish. But our Done With You recruiting program, which is you pretty much taking our processes in house, that's a 5 to 6K investment. It's 5K, or you can break it up into payments over 3 months at 2K times 3. And so that's just taking all the systems that I've built and perfected over the last 10 plus years, and you own them, and we lead and coach you and support you for a year during that process. And you can learn more about that by scheduling a call. And we have our 15K, 24K, and 36K services that are 3-month, 6-month, and 12-month agreements. And that's all the same stuff, excluding we manage some ad management and some candidate screening and scheduling of your interviews, and just save you some recruiting admin time. So we can talk about those more later, but if you're a startup and you don't have an existing sales force, then in most cases, fully define your sales model, work together to develop the sales process. You'll get setter scripts, you'll get closer scripts. We'll help you build out your new hire training and automate that process and pretty much build a machine to onboard and retain reps. Part of that would be fleshing out your compensation plan. And so at the beginning for you, if nothing is in place, it's about building the foundation for a rep to actually come on board, learn, and see success. And then from there, it's launching the recruiting process around recruiting and developing leaders and/or recruiting commission-based reps. And then at the scale that you want to recruit reps, it doesn't matter to us either way. Does that help answer your question, or was that not clear enough?
It answered most of it, but
Yeah.
I think you have set up a call with Scott at 7, so let's see. I can ask him further question and take it from there. I don't want to take time from everybody else.
Oh yeah, you're fine. And Scott, by the way, he's a champion. He'll be able to talk you through all the details. Freeman.
Yes. I just recruited a couple of guys recently.
Yes, let's go.
All right. Actually, 4.
Yeah.
Now, how can I've been in business for a little while here.
Yeah.
Personally, what has worn me out is I've been producing about $10 to $12 million in annuity premium for decades.
Yeah.
Now, the aging process is falling in on me. Now I've got how would I coordinate? I'm on Fox 5. I got a TV show. I use digital marketing and also workshops.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for a good while.
Yeah.
So what attracted me is the onboarding. I got a couple of guys coming in. I like to have a systematic process.
Mm-hmm.
I like that idea, the training. Right now I'm putting together videos to train. Well, I wish to more or less delegate and be more of a mentor, as you had mentioned before, and place sales managers in my stead. So will you be able to, I already scheduled the one-on-one first thing Monday.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see how my process will mesh with the marketing systems that I have up. Been understanding the law of large numbers.
Yeah.
And I need a couple of guys to help me. Like I said, I've been doing about $10 to $12 million of personal annuity premium every year, every decade.
Like a champion.
I'm beginning to fade a little bit.
You look good.
Yeah.
You look good.
I've been doing it for over 40 years. Thank you very much, sir. And so I want to know, will Scott, who I've scheduled with, will give me whatever's needed to come together here to form a very good. Now, let me share with you. I know you mentioned roofing and other industries.
Yeah.
I have an insurance agency.
Yeah.
Will that
hundreds of companies like yours?
Oh, okay. Well, I just wanted to make sure.
Our most recent came to mind. Most recent client testimonial. They did a year contract, Century Benefits, Portland, Oregon, a localized. I don't know if you're hiring all over the country, but they were a localized, just a Oregon company. They've been around for like a decade, I think. Had 8 agents, licensed agents. When they started with us like a year ago, and they're at 45 quota-producing licensed agents. So I love your industry. It's one of the best.
Well, yes, that like I said, what attracted me is the onboarding process. Now, I've been personally training these guys. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
I do have administrative assistants so that I'm not bogged down with paperwork.
Yeah.
But I just need that process to get these guys on and attract them, because I'm getting high-end agents. The 4 that I've recruited so far. But I want to retain these guys. They can produce and get their AUM, all that other good stuff, but I want to hold on to them.
Yep, absolutely. So
So you'll be able to help me on that.
yeah, so Scott, it sounds like my assumption is, and maybe there's a recruiting conversation there, but probably our done for you university program is the discussion. So we have a completely separate like back end team. We can't
Mhm.
produce a million of them because it's a big time investment, but we custom build out like everything in terms of onboarding and online training. Like we produce all your videos, all your documents, all your quizzes, custom created to your brand. Like it's insane. And so it sounds like that's probably what's best. And Scott will recap those details with you on Monday.
All righty.
Yeah.
Just want
Yep,
to know.
I saw you come through on Monday.
Yeah.
So you're in the calendar.
Oh,
for me.
there's Scott right there. Okay. How you doing, Scott?
Yeah, I've been
All right.
peeking through. No, yeah.
Yeah,
I
there
saw
was
you
a
come.
couple of times in there I couldn't get a hold of you, so kind of pushed me in the evening. I usually get down the office at 4 o'clock, and Friday is my Saturday on through the weekend. I've earned that right. So, what do I bring to the table? The
Yeah.
meeting. Do you need? I've even
Just-
got scripts for interviewing agents and so on. What would you need for me to bring?
Let's connect on that time and I'll share it with you and we can
Oh, okay.
lock it all in.
All right, no worries.
Yeah, I blocked out that time for you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, you got me in the evening time, so that's okay, man. No worries. That's all the questions I had, or statements that I wish to make.
Yeah.
So
I love it though. I'd love to, I would love to save you that
Okay.
10, 15 hours a week and you'd be super happy. Does anybody
Yes,
have
indeed.
any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
This is Joseph. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Hey, thanks for the conversation and providing that context, right? It's very helpful because when I saw your ad, I was a little bit curious on what exactly is the service that you and how does that kind of like complement what I'm doing. To give you a quick background, I'm a startup. I just launched my company a couple of months ago. It's a property management software company.
Uh-huh.
And what is really unique about even though there's kind of like other property management software out there that does several things. What is unique about my business is that it's the only property management that actually does automated maintenance. And what I mean by automated maintenance is it's not just kind of like you schedule your maintenance, right? Like your tenant literally requests maintenance, and I have an open market on my back end where I have a bunch of on-demands.
Wow.
And once your tenant schedule a maintenance is gonna go to the handyman or the plumber in the open market, almost like an Uber or Lyft, right? And they will see the request, they will pick it up. And so as a property owner, you don't have to be involved. It's more like using it, think about like having the property and you don't have to get those calls, right?
That sounds awesome.
From your tenant. So that is kind of like the key problem that we've been able to solve by our kind of like our end-to-end automated property management. So I mean, went through the pain of having this product, and now I'm trying to sell it, get subscription, and I'm struggling, right? I mean, I have a marketing team, and I hired one sales strategy and sales team just to help to close the sales, and we've been struggling. I've been struggling a little bit. So and honestly, sales is not I have an engineering, but I've been doing program management all my life. Those are my key competence. Sales is not really my key competence.
Yeah.
So I'm struggling. I'm just kind of trying to look for, help on, obviously it's kind of like a bootstrap startup,
Yeah.
using my own money to do it. So,
Yeah.
resources is finite, right? It's
Yep.
it's more like how can I have that, thought leadership in sales that can come and
Yeah.
help, and how will that fit? It's kind of like what I'm still trying to I've already scheduled an appointment for next week, by the way, but I'm trying to wrap my head on how is that gonna fit to really help to, because right now what I really need is just getting those emails lists, just all the leads that I'm getting from social media, just a good salesperson to just to close for me and to get those subscriptions. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you think about it and how you feel like you can help.
Yeah, so you said you just need closers to take leads that are already provided, or
Yes, both, right? So I have some leads already. Most
I see,
importantly, I
understand.
need closer to close those leads.
Yeah.
Second thing is that I will look for opportunities to if I can expand my leads because my
Yeah.
lead is still kind of like, so those are
Yeah.
both things that I
Yes.
need.
Yeah, so with software, in most cases, one of the challenges is that it's, there's not like it's not high ticket, so there's not a lot of commission in it, right? And so
Yeah.
I don't know if your stuff is $50, $500 a month, or whatever it is, right? I don't know what it is, but in most cases, it's cheap enough to where if I'm selling it as a rep and there's not a big monthly, or there's not a big setup fee or a big monthly, there's not enough money for me to make good money, right? And so, I'm just going to make assumptions and do a quick run through, and Scott will be able to much better, dive into the details than I will right now because I'm just making it. In most cases, you got a fairly low cost software. There's not enough money, and what we need to do is, either increase the price or charge for a full year, and or have a setup fee of like 2, 3, 4, 5, $10,000 on the front end. So there's a good amount of money to make for the sales rep, and that also helps cash flow the company, right? So as an example, let's say that your stuff is $100 a month now, which is only $1,200 a year. Well, if we collect, if we up it to, $200 a month, which is $2,400 a month, and we say it's 50% off if you pay in full for a year, and the rep gets, a 200 residual, or $1,200 up front, and gets a 25% rip off that $1,200, then the commission starts to be decent. If you do that, and or add some type of sign up fee for 2, 3, 4, 5, $10,000 on the front end, and the value is there, and a rep can close it, then they can make one on the front end, and all of a sudden they can start to sell a couple of these and make 6 figures, right? So there's usually a pricing adjustment kind of requirement if you really want to build a commission-based sales team because there's not enough money. Now the strategy, once that's dialed, is build out and automate the training process, right? And then for you, most likely in the first 3 to 6 months, the income opportunity is not incredibly high still for 6 months. And so what we need to do is that's why the sales leadership recruiting strategy is so incredibly important, because you need to recruit solid people. But because the opportunity is not great in the first 3 to 6 months, you need to have an attractive opportunity a year from now that gets them to say, hey, this is unique enough to where I will take an income hit because of what's down the road in 6 to 9, 12 months,
Exactly.
transitioning into leadership. And so you put this big carrot out, and we lay out that entire process. It's cookie cutter. We've developed a very specific system for it, and they earn that position down the road. And by the time position, and you start to provide some leadership compensation plan, it doesn't matter because we've been building the sales team and scaling up revenue by that time. And now that person's there, and then we step on the gas from a recruiting perspective. And so that's kind of that's typically some basic things that happen with software companies when there's not a lot of money to be made, if you want to build up a commission-based sales team.
Yeah, I appreciate that, right? And that's kind of like what I just kind of want to talk to you more about. I think the person that I have for the meeting is called Skip Ward.
So we'll cancel that, and let's schedule on. Did you schedule on Scott's calendar yet?
No, I only have this one. Oh, so there is one calendar that is showed there, and that is what I clicked. But that's what I clicked. Yes, Scott. Okay, now there's a different. Okay, got it. So let me go for that. Let me schedule on Scott calendar now. Okay, 4 p.m. Actually, let me do 2 p.m. That should work. So, okay, let me do it again. Scott. Yeah. No, I look forward to that, and just to see if they can, because at the end of the day, I don't think I can hire a lot of sales rep. I'm thinking like maximum of 2 now,
Yep.
And I mean, even like if I can get a rock star, right? Maybe 1 just something to kind of like, get things going and start expanding as we go along.
Yeah.
So
I got a question for you, sir.
Yes.
My name's Andrew. I'm a startup HVAC business. I just have a question. How do you tailor your sales training programs to like industries like HVAC, service-based and installs? I'm not too sure if that's something you guys from. I know you guys do. You mentioned roofing and other industries.
I love HVAC because I like it cold in my house all the time.
Same here, man.
Yeah, my wifey doesn't like it.
Same here, bro. That's what we're here to warm up. You know.
Sometimes I'm selfish though, so we got to keep it cold. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's HVAC and refrigeration. So I do a lot of like commercial work, like restaurants, and I also do like residential. But I just want to know. I did schedule a meeting with Scott on Tuesday. Just looking, I just want to make sure I'm a good fit. I am a startup business, so honestly, every sales that I've got, it's more than likely because of the rapport that I had with them in the previous companies that I worked for, and I just, proceeded with them from my past experience with them working for the other companies when I transitioned over. Which kind of got me to a certain point this year. I'm about 500,000 in revenue. I know it's very small, so
Awesome.
when I get to the the 2 million, 5 million mark,
Yeah.
I believe this is the next step that I need to take, especially going into the winter and slower seasons. We want to start, developing. I do not have a sales program or, guidance or anything like that. That's why I think it's a great fit. But I just want to make sure that, I looked at you guys' Instagram and I love everything what you guys are doing. I just want to make sure it's, tailored perfectly with HVAC and refrigeration and stuff like that when it comes to residential and commercial.
Yeah, it's a great question. So it's all the same. We've helped, at least 100 industries. It's the only difference is in between the length of the sales cycle, right? Direct to consumer sales, high ticket sales, what you do, or at least on the residential side, that is the easiest because it's high ticket, shorter sales cycle, which means I can make a good amount of money quickly as a commission-based rep, which means retaining reps is easier. When the most difficult thing is a long sales cycle, B2B, low ticket, which means it takes a long time for me to make money and it's low ticket. So by the time I'm making money, I'm not making a lot of money. Now, we're not industry specific. Our 60-day financial guarantee applies to you regardless. But the easiest is short sales cycle, high ticket. All the strategies, the processes are all the same, although it will end up being specifically custom to you. What I mean by that is all of your new hire training will be custom to you. The sales process that ends up being developed, that'll be custom to you. Your compensation plan, that'll be custom to your situation, right? So it's all the same stuff, 80% of it, and the other 20% gets customized to you. So it's perfect fit for you. It's designed, this Done With You program is designed for startups and or for companies looking to scale up their first 2 to 5 commission-based reps. So it'll be a great fit, and your call with Scott will be awesome.
So I'm looking forward to it. One last question. Do you also recommend dividing the sales reps from residential to commercial?
Yeah, it's a good question. So for you, since all of this is new, right, the easiest thing to scale up is going to be the residential side, right? Because although we're going to install processes that I've developed over a decade, you as a business owner, as a leader, you're still going to go through your learning curve of what it looks like to really scale up the sales department. Now, in your learning curve, we want to make it the simplest as possible on you. In most cases, and this is just an assumption, in most cases, the easiest path at the beginning will be the residential path because that's the easiest way to make money for both you and the business. And once you're like, okay, man, I know how to predictably recruit, onboard, train, retain reps, and we're flowing, then we can have then we can get crazy with the commercial side. Technically, you can do both at once, but that'll probably be too overwhelming for you. And it's either start with residential and then build a separate division commercial, and or what maybe be the strategy too, which I like, is because it makes you unique. Is hey, here's the path over 12 months to start as a rep. Start as a rep, the first 3 months, then do this the next 3 months, and then And then in months 7 through 9, if you've produced X, Y, and Z in the first 9 months, we'll start to train you on the commercial side. And so there could be a path that allows a rep to make the quicker money, get money in their pocket, and stick with your business. The right to transition into commercial sales, which is, sounds sexier, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So, it depends on what's kind of best, but that'll be custom for you too.
Thank
All
you. I
right.
appreciate thank you for that answer. And thank you for your time and information. I'm looking forward to that meeting on Tuesday.
I
I'm
saw
gonna
you
start-
come in.
What was that?
I saw you come into the calendar, so I look forward to talking to you, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I got you locked in and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Looking
Cool.
forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. I hope you've been able to get my
Yeah, let's
invitation.
check.
I have one more
Oh, go
question
for
to
it.
ask. I've got a couple of new agents that have been that was attracted to me in the practice here. They're coming in Friday. Now, I've done, I've got the onboarding, but not as efficient. I want to retain these guys. They are securities licensed. They saw my television show. They've seen what I've been doing over the years. This is the second go around for me in recruiting.
Yeah.
Early in my career, had a huge agency. It took me 10 years to build.
Yeah.
About 700 agents. We had a 22-year run.
Wow.
I want to know, Scott, what can I have in place when these two guys come through? They're coming out of Merrill Edge and what's the other guy? Fidelity. They have insurance licenses too. Now, let me see, they're scheduled Thursday. What can I tell them in preparation for their onboarding? We've got a director of recruiting, work with a big FMO. I want to have something in place until we get the entire program to go. Anything I can do in preparation for 2 more agents. Like I said, I got 4, and I trained 2 that have produced IULs and annuities, but it took a lot of time. They watched me, and they more or less are transferable in the way that I deal with clients. So anything I can have up and running to.
Yeah, I'll give you one of the best answers to this question because it seems like it's a great question, and it's great to think about that. Think of it this way: if you asked a mechanic, what should I fix in my car sales process wise, and what should I do this? I haven't looked into your business. We haven't looked under the hood, and so I think that question would be better answered if we seen what we should change sales process wise, and we can really help that on the inside. And so on our call, on our deep dive, we will have really the time to dive in and get to that question to thoroughly answer it, because I don't want to suggest anything.
I understand.
Yeah.
So I'll be if we Zoom this meeting, of course, will.
Yes.
I'll have everything set up so you can see the type of media platforms that I have in place and so on. And you might suggest to me, say, Freeman, let's put this in.
Yes, but no, that's an excellent question, and I've blocked out a full hour with you and I on that time. So it says half hour, but I put another block for us to dive into what you have. So
All right, no worries.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Joseph, which day did you book into the calendar? I was looking and I couldn't see it. Did you happen to book under the name I see on the Zoom, the Joseph? Because I'm not sure I can find it. Your mic's muted.
2 p.m. October.
So, yeah, Joseph Ojo, yeah. October 25th, 2 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Central Time. I can
Okay.
I
saw it here. Which time did you want? I see you're set
there
up
it
2
is.
times. Would you want the one or the first one or the second one?
Which one do you mean by the first one and second one?
I saw you booked in twice.
Yes, I booked in twice because the first one that I booked was for a different person that I think,
Okay.
yeah. So I think 4 p.m. is fine for me. Do you have that 4 p.m. available, Scott?
Yeah, I do. What time
Okay.
zone are you in?
Oh, I mean Central Time Zone.
Okay, cool.
Can you do
Well,
that?
that works great.
Okay, let's do that Central Time.
All right, guys. Well, we got a minute left. So awesome hanging out with you. Awesome questions. Made the end of my week meeting with you guys. So this is awesome. I hope you guys have a great weekend.